Yo, what's up guys? It's your boy once again, Buhle Gasela. I am your host here in this Futsal Fever International Edition. So, as you guys know, our national team was scheduled to play against Mozambique over this weekend, Friday as well as Saturday fixtures. The boys left Thursday morning, arrived there Thursday afternoon. A little bit sluggish and tired, but of course still acclimatizing themselves. Boys didn't have too much of a training session as, you know, of course we were playing the next day. However though, we're going to dive into the first game. Get ready for that breakdown. Right, okay guys, so kicking off Friday's evening game, I have to say honestly, the boys kind of started off pretty slow, you know. Was trying to still pretty much grow into the game. Mozambique was actually well organized, really showing their class as a team. Even though they still started off pretty timid, you could tell they were well organized, well structured, the way they were moving the ball around. But I felt like also it worked to our advantage, them being timid, because it allowed us to come up with an early goal whilst we were still figuring out the game. Shout out to Nicole Sampson, by the way. You guys really need to see that finish. What class. Minus his two players. Beautiful chip over the goalkeeper. Exceptional composure from the young king right there. But moving on from there though, I still felt like we really grew into the game after that goal. Confidence came in the team. Chances we were creating were very solid. But I felt like also Mozambique started respecting us a bit more. The passes, they were starting to string along. 1-2s starting to really become more threatening, especially towards the end of the half. You know, really knocking on our door, wanting that equalizer. But on our side too, what I like from our boys is that we still carried on wanting to add on the lead too. But went into the half 1-0. And then coming into the second half though, then Mozambique really turned up the heat. A quick early goal to just equalize it, going 1-1. Regan Swartboy, good response coming back from that shot out the box, making us go up 2-1, excuse me. And then after that, I felt like we still had good control of the game moving forward. And then after that, as the game went on, Mozambique was still creating their chances, obviously, of course. Came back with a solid equalizer, but within that span of about 5 minutes, the span of goals that came in, we go up 2-1, Mozambique goes 2-1. Well, we go up 2-1, Mozambique hits the equalizer of 2-2 with the beautiful square ball to finish that. And then after that, 3-2. And I felt like after they had knocked the third goal in, that's when the chances started going a begging from us as a national team. You know, the boys now started like becoming more timid, started defending more. Instead, we didn't want to leak more goals when I felt like we should have carried on being brave. And then after that, I felt like Mozambique just went on the ascension. Lapse in defense makes that 4-2, another square ball in, tap in to finish it. And then after that, I just felt like our boys couldn't get a foothold anymore. Honestly, for me, like what really disappointed me was the red card, you know. Well, I felt like that was a great opportunity for us to come back in the game. Well, I understand there wasn't enough time left anyways. There was about like 4 minutes left in the game, but we could have still snuck in another 2 goals there just to make it a late game thriller. For the mere fact that these boys were still able to sneak in a 5-2, that was just not acceptable from our side. I felt like we were better than that. Defensive lapse again, and they just took full advantage. However, they are the home team though. Having the home crowd at yours will always be your advantage is what I've always noticed. But nonetheless though, I felt like the 5-2 was not a result of we played badly, but it was just a result of one team was playing futsal, other team was playing football. And now moving on to the second match. Now here, I felt like the boys were much better in terms of our performance, that's for sure. I felt like also the guys in our team too will feel exactly the same. However though, Mozambique now in this time, they started off positively in this sense as now they got a good feel of our boys. They know exactly what we bring to the table, going up 1-0. And then after, I felt like we still just stayed in the game. That's what we just did. And a big shout out to Tyson Lee really for keeping us in the game. And those crucial saves he was making, he was really making sure that, you know, we still have a chance to come back in. And then just before the end of the first half, good response, the response we exactly needed in order for us to be able to go into the second half so that we can start off in the ascension. Ingram Zulu, shout out to that finish that you did, Mageba. Exceptional, my man. And then moving into the second half, I felt like that was a perfect chance for us now to go in the ascension and kick on from that day. Unfortunately, Mozambique shows their class again, taking it up a notch, making it 2-1. And then within just a very short space of time, going 3-1 up again within the next minute. I felt like our boys' heads went down there a little bit, but then again, I feel like the biggest letdown for me overall in this game was just rotation of players. I could notice as the game was going, our boys were really getting tired. The effort was still there, the mindset was still there that we wanted to win, but that rotation. Mozambique was really coming out guns blazing. Players that would come in would give a good 3 to 4 minute burst of a full-out court press, and then after that, another fresh body comes in. And I felt like our boys were drained too much. Captain Fantastic Mtutuzi was a prime example of that, where I could notice that, he's really taking too much on them. But then again, surprise, surprise, John Mark, Mr. Joga Bonito, takes full advantage. And just a quick defensive lapse, exceptional finish though from John Mark. And then after that, Kyle Sampson, the man of the moment in the first game, comes with the goods again. Well composed, finished with a good press from our boys. Takes it in. Honestly, for me, I would have belted it the first time. But then Kyle just calms himself down, cools the keeper as the keeper tries to come rush out quickly, and just taps it in nicely there. And then after that, I'm gaining so much confidence going that, all right, okay, now we're back in the game now. Now we're back in. We should actually kick on again. Then the boys decided to be timid. Don't want to concede any mistakes. And I understand that. I really do. But for me, I feel like, once you got that kind of momentum now, that 2-2, well, it was 3-2, 3-3, excuse me. I feel like from there, you need to move on to another gear now. You need to go like time also too in the game. We need to go grab the bull by the horns. And I felt like we just didn't do that. And then again, defensive lapse there right at the end of the game. Mozambique takes full advantage again, 4-3. But nonetheless, though, overall, this was a much better performance from our boys. It's just mainly substitutions. If we could just have a bit more fresh legs constantly in the team, I felt like that scoreline could have been very, very different. All right, okay, guys. So it's safe to say SA Futsal is officially back. And I feel like more than anything, this was a great learning curve and a great experience from our boys. They really held our flag very high. Exceptional performances from both games. And also to a massive, massive, massive shout out to the Mozambican fans and the hospitality, just everyone there in Mozambique. Thank you so much for the love and support that you guys have shown to us. Thank you so much for the treatment and the hospitality we received there. None of us felt like we were away from home. We actually felt more at home, and that is thanks to you guys. A big appreciation to the president as well too, and just everyone who played a part in making sure that this game, well, both games go extremely well, and just this weekend gets carried on well too as well. Thank you so much. I cannot say thank you enough for the love that you guys show to us. And all the fans in Mozambique, stay tuned for any more updates, any more notifications of games coming through, and subscribe. Keep showing love, because we love you back. Thanks a milli. Mucho obrigado. All right, okay, and now that is over. Quick pivot back to regional fixtures. All 10 teams are playing in this weekend, guys, and there's going to be a massive banger as a last game at the end with Maritzburg Hotspur FC versus eThekwini City FC. Boy, I'm too excited for that one. Looking forward to that one. So first up, we have Young Colonials versus New Era FC. Next up, it's Young Italians FC versus Belchester FC. And then next, you have Hugo's FC versus Tongat Suburbs FC. The away team coming back to the Bergs again. So now moving on to our evening fixtures, we have P&B Rangers versus Collegians FC. And then lastly, our grand finale in Maritzburg Hotspur FC versus eThekwini City FC. Again, guys, this is set to be a cracker. And of course, the team that wins between these two guys will probably finish the weekend in top spot. Unless if New Era has something to say about that. And guys, that's it for this week. Don't forget to subscribe, switch on your notification bells, make sure you like. Keep showing that love and support. We thank you so much again. Looking forward to seeing you guys. I am your host, Buhle Gasela, and this is brought to you by Moukulu Media. See you guys next week.